Hello, fellow travelers. Have you ever flown a narrow-body aircraft across the Atlantic Ocean? Well, I'm about to. You see, I'm about to fly an Airbus A318 from here in London, out of London City Airport, all the way to JFK with just a quick stopover in Shannon, Ireland to go through U.S. Customs and refuel. This is going to be a pretty special journey on an aircraft that's come to be known as the Baby Bus.
There's no lounge here, so British Airways provides a free breakfast at the restaurant just inside security. Passengers in this flight are not meant to hang around the airport. Check-in closes 20 minutes prior to departure, and with no lounge and limited shopping, there's not a lot to do at London City, unless, of course, you're a plane spotter. Now, this is one of British Airways' most unique routes. In fact, it may be one of the world's most unique routes. It retains a very important flight number, BA1, which also belonged to Concorde. Keep watching to see whether this is Concorde 2.0. British Airways has only one A318 with this unique configuration, and it only serves this route. That's flying between New York and London with a stopover at Shannon on the return, and that's what we're doing today. The stop in Shannon will allow passengers to go through U.S. Customs and Immigration before landing in New York, theoretically accelerating our arrival. That said, the real reason for the stop is to add the fuel required to make the hop against the wind across the pond. This boarding process is unspeakably exciting for an aviation enthusiast like me. Of course, the beautiful weather made the experience pleasant even for non-AvGeek passengers. These seats are, in a word, a bit tired. Again, there are only 32 of them on an airplane that could fit up to 132 passengers in an all-economy configuration, so I'm not complaining too much. Even though there were only 11 passengers on the plane, I was traveling with my girlfriend, so I chose to sit with her. We could have easily both had our own rows if we'd so chosen.
That was about 3 minutes of boarding, and it's done.
If you're like me and like flying and views like this as much as I do, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Simply tap that subscribe button and hit the notification bell too. That way you'll be among the first to know when I publish a new video. And for now, let's take a closer look at that seat. It's a unique design among the BA fleet, which means it has a separate card describing its features and use. But you don't need the card, you have me. The seat adjustments themselves are intuitive and do the trick. It was easy to find a comfortable reclining position. The ottoman cannot be used as a seat. It is within easy reach. Unfortunately, during takeoff and landing, nothing can be stored there. It's a bit frustrating with 2 takeoffs and 2 landings on the route. The tray table, which will make an appearance in a bit, was a little small and a bit wobbly. There's a reading light. And here's where the seat really falls apart for me. There's no storage apart from this impractically small bin. In addition to the plug you saw by the impractically small bin, there are another 2 between the seats. Thankfully, BA have opted to provide individual gaspers or air vents in this aircraft. There's a fast meal service on the short hour and 12-minute flight to Shannon. I chose the vegetarian sushi, which was very nice, but before we knew it, the Irish coastline came into view and we were already on approach. Pre-clearance is available in a number of airports outside the US, including, among others, Bermuda, Abu Dhabi, and many Canadian cities. Passengers departing from these airports are able to complete customs and immigration formalities prior to landing in the US. Passengers with checked bags here in Shannon were required to wait a little longer than those who merely had carry-on bags. This was so those bags could be inspected and photographed. I had a checked bag and was shown a picture of it while going through immigration and was asked to confirm it belonged to me. It's worth noting we had to clear security again in Shannon in addition to all of those other formalities. Once that was all done, we were asked to wait in a slightly upgraded waiting area before reboarding and taking off again. This was the point in the flight when I really settled in. The trip to New York would take just about 7 hours, and passengers are provided with an amenity kit by the White Company. Although it's small, it includes everything you'd want on a flight of this length. You may have noticed that there's no built-in in-flight entertainment in the seatbacks. Instead, British Airways offers her passengers iPads and headphones distributed from a beverage cart. The iPads only had 15 movies included, and none of them appealed to me. I was glad to have brought my own iPad to watch content. Also, the headphones, I'm sorry to say, weren't that good. I was glad to have my own Bose QC20s. By the way, if you're in the market for some Bose headphones, please use the link in the description before buying them. If you do this, the channel will receive a small commission. Thanks. The food on this flight is prepared by Dough & Co. It's some of the best I've ever eaten in the air. It really was delicious. Getting in and out of the seat, even with a seatmate, was okay. Now obviously, if you don't know your seatmate, you're much better off in a row of your own if you can swing it. Now, isn't that always true though? The cabin is arranged in a 2-2 configuration with 32 fully lie-flat seats. These seats offer between 72 and 73 inches of pitch and are 20 inches wide. One nice feature was that the galley at the back of the cabin has a sort of double curtain, so passengers visiting the rear lavatory don't disturb the rest of the cabin with light from the galley. Although I didn't really fall asleep, I attempted to try out the bed for you. It felt okay, but to be honest was a bit cramped. I'm sure it'd do the trick for the relatively short nighttime flight from JFK to London City. One quick note, if you're not like me and you don't know your seatmate, there is a privacy partition between the two seats. About 1 hour before landing, a light snack was provided. A word about this crew. They're based at Gatwick and don't always fly this route. They seemed nearly as excited about flying British Airways Flight 1 as I was. They were, in a word, great. But was this Concorde 2.0? I think not. At more than 9 hours, that's an hour to Shannon, an hour on the ground there, and 7 more to New York, there's certainly no time savings like Concorde. In fact, you could fly a British Airways 747 from Heathrow to JFK in 8 hours. Also, unlike Concorde, there were no celebrities among the 11 of us on this flight. But there is an undeniable cool factor that goes along with flying a narrow-bodied baby bus across the Atlantic. I mean, this was practically a private jet. To me, this route is ideal for 2 types of people. Either 1, you're someone who needs to get to or from the heart of London's financial district without the hassle of traffic. Or 2, you're an aviation enthusiast like me. You enjoy the flight for the novelty of it. Let's take a look at how this flight ranks among other international business and first-class trips I've taken. I can't tell you how much fun I had on this flight. As an av geek, it was a very special one, and I'm so fortunate to travel as much as I do. I never forget how lucky I am. But I've started ranking my airline experiences as a frequent business traveler on an admittedly subjective 5-factor scale. Let's look at this flight. First, the lounge. Well, since London City doesn't have one, they make up for it by offering a free breakfast. I'd say that's worth 2 out of 5 stars. Second, the seat. It's unique and seems like it would be reasonably comfortable as a bed, but the lack of practical storage is a real downer for me. I'll have to go with 2 stars here. The in-flight entertainment is extremely weak. With only 15 movies available on an old iPad, be sure to bring your own if that's what you're into. This 2 is worth a mere 2 out of 5 stars. The food was spectacular. I'd say these could easily have passed for first class rather than business class meals. I'll go with 5 out of 5 stars. The service was also top-notch. The crew were great and seemed as excited as I was about this special route. 5 out of 5 here. So that leaves BA with 16 out of 25 stars on their special British Airways Flight 1 flight, the A318 across the Atlantic.
Between now and the next time, see you in the skies.